Intentional errors. We should be on guard against intentional sins and faults, because God will examine our intentions. The errors we fall into through carelessness are of a less serious nature. Sins are sins, but some may have extenuating circumstances. Furthermore, when we fall into error unintentionally, God will provide so that our fault can be utilized for some good. This doesn't mean that we had to make a mistake in order for something good to happen. Rather, it means that since we erred unintentionally, God simply utilizes our fault for some good. But when we plan ahead and err knowingly and then repent, we should also pray that no other harm occur from the consequences of our fault. Geronda. The monk mentioned in Evergerinos, the one who fell into a given sin every single day for 10 years, but who also repented every day, how was he saved? In a sense, he had been seized and held captive by sin. He didn't have an evil disposition to sin, but he also hadn't been helped by anyone early on, and since he was rather led astray, he was entitled to divine intervention. He battled against it, he suffered, he repented sincerely, and God saved him in the end. You see, someone can have a good disposition, but if he receives no help early on and is led astray towards evil, then it's very difficult for him to get back on his feet. He tries but falls again, only to get up again. In other words, he is always struggling. God will not abandon such a person, especially when the poor man is making an effort, asking for divine help, and is not sinning intentionally. Someone, for example, will set off for somewhere without having any intention of committing a sin, but on his way he is tempted and falls into some sin. He repents, struggles to avoid sin, but is tempted again and falls into sin unintentionally, only to repent again. Such a person has extenuating circumstances, because he does not want to commit the sin, but succumbs to temptation and then repents. But whoever says, if I am to achieve that goal, I must do wrong, and so forth, that person is sinning on purpose and intentionally. In other words, he plans and lays out a scheme to sin in cahoots with the devil. This is especially evil because it is premeditated. It isn't simply falling into temptation, but rather setting out to do something evil along with the tempter, the devil. Such a person should never expect to be helped, because he does not deserve divine help, and he will in all likelihood die unrepentant. But even those who say that they will repent in their old age, how can they be certain that they will have time to repent and not die suddenly? A certain contractor used to say, "When I grow old, I'll go to the Holy Land and be baptized in the river Jordan to have all my sins washed away." And he continued to live a sinful life. Finally, when he had no more energy and could barely walk, he said to his trusted worker, "I've decided to go to the Holy Land and be baptized in the river Jordan as a pilgrim." And the worker gave him a bold response, "Boss, if you are clean of heart, you will go, but if you are not, you will die on the way." It was like a prophecy. As soon as he arrived in Athens to prepare his papers, he died. Others took all of his money and made arrangements with a funeral home to have him sent back to his hometown in a coffin.